Hey guys, and welcome back to a work in progress video of my 1989 GM Command Space Type. Been doing just a little bit of work, mainly trying to take it apart because some of the pieces were snapped together pretty tight, trying to take it apart without breaking too many pieces. And some problems, of course, because this kit is old. Some of the things I've run into is, for example, with the gun. Actually, I'm just going to move the light and see if I can bring it. Because this has been snapped together for a while, there was some paint. I mean, the paint is over 20 years old. Had to scrape the paint off, and as well as when I kind of filed the nubs and filed the paint off. Let's focus. Hold on a second. So here we go. You see this giant seam line right there? So that's from breaking it apart. Some of the glue cracked. The glue is very old. The paint is also over 20 years old. And so by the time we cleaned everything off, I got a giant seam line. Another piece here I'm going to just pop into the camera is the GM head. Also broke apart, and with it snapping together, I have a giant seam line there. Look at that thing, like you see right through it. A giant chip on the top. So that's going to require quite a bit of work. And for me to fix all those seam lines and holes and stuff, I'm going to go to a box of Tamiya epoxy putty. I haven't opened this box yet. I opened it close to 20 years ago, but I haven't opened it since, and so I'm not sure if this is going to work. If it's too dry, I'm hoping I can do something with it. I'll be making small pieces, and then from there I will kind of fill it in the head, scrape it off, sand it down. Hopefully everything works together. If not, I might have to buy a new box. Yeah, like this was $10 20 years ago, so I don't know what it would cost nowadays. And then, so those are the couple of problems. I managed to scrape a lot of the paint off the hands and the fingers, get this piece to come off. Or I'm not. These things are pretty snug. There we go. So I had to take the piece off, clean the fingers off. Well, I'm going to bring the box back in because there's too much in the background. I'm trying to focus. There's still some definition in the finger channels, so hopefully that can be saved. It's taking a little bit more effort than I thought. These pieces were easily just filed in sand. I'll bring this back in again. Here is the forearm, and I've glued the forearm together. You can see a little bit of the glisten from the glue. And it's a hard time focusing today. But I basically had to break everything apart, glue it. There are the seams, as you can see. Filed it, sand it. Because it's white and it's hard to see if there's actually going to be a seam line, one thing I am thinking about is I have a bottle of liquid putty. So I have a bottle of Mr. Hobby's Mr. Dissolves putty, so I call it liquid putty. And I'm going to put some on the seams here for the forearm. And likewise here with, so that's the bicep. Here's the forearm and elbow. Masked it because if I don't mask it, the gray parts internally with the poly caps, they're going to get covered in white and they should be gray. And same here with the shoulder. Come on, focus today, please. And so yeah, you can see that the seam line was there, and it looks pretty visible that it's probably going to be some indentation. And so I'm hoping the liquid putty fills that in nicely so that when I paint it, I do get a nice smooth surface. With these old kits, just going to grab another piece here. With the old kits, as I was mentioning, some of these things are they're stuck in, right? Like once I glue this, once this gets glued together, it's going to be stuck in here. And so when you're painting it, it makes it difficult to paint, right? Like, oh, there's going to be paint on the inside here that you can't get to. This is an arm I haven't touched, I haven't cleaned or anything yet. So what do? If you you don't want to do too much work here on these and cut these off. So what I did was, let's take this part, please, open without being destroyed on me. Just slowly wedge it open. Almost there. There we go. Slowly wiggle it out. Okay. So what I did, I basically cut here to here off. And by cutting it off on this side and on the other arm, it creates like a C, the letter C or a reverse C, which I can then take this piece after this is painted and dried. It basically, because that's now cut open, it slides up and snaps in and stays in place. Alright, so one moment. So I colored it in with black ink, and we're just going to take the side cutters, cut that off on both sides, and when it's glued together in one piece, you have an opening or a gap in which this extended part will snap up and slide in. And so let's see here. Do you see that right there? On the other side. So I hope you guys can understand the philosophy. We just slide it and it pops and snaps. Slide it. Excuse me. Those just slide in and pop in. I'm not going to do that now. I don't want to keep pulling it in and out and loosen it. I want to be able to get this done, get this painted, snap it in once, and just leave it. Naturally, the more you pop it in and out, it will get looser so that you won't be able to hold the pose. And then also, you're going to be flexing this seam because to snap it in, this will open outward slightly to accommodate this to go in, but then it will pop back in place. So we don't want to do it too often. So that's what we're going to do with the arm. With the legs, this is now snapped together. This is the before any work is done. Unlike the new models where you can take this in its two pieces, this joint here, it's one piece that looks like a figure eight. And so I cannot remove the top from the bottom of the leg, which makes painting and cleaning it a little bit of a task, a bit of a chore. Here's one where I have filed and I sealed the pieces together, and I've kind of squeezed it so that the glue is oozing out. And the reason we want to do that is the glue melts the plastic, and that melted plastic, when you clean it and file it and sand it, takes away the seam lines. So that's the ideal way of doing it. Since this kit is so old and I've done a lot of damage when I first built it, like the nub marks here is going to create a bit of a dent. This is going to be hard to clean up. I will put, again, the liquid putty. Hopefully that can fill in the spot there. File all of this down and get one smooth surface is what the end goal is. Whether or not I can do that, we'll find out at the end. So this is glued, sealed, and once that dries tomorrow, I'll be scraping and cleaning this up. Being an older kit also, from once again, this kit is made in 1989. Some of the sprues are in, and the plastic molds are not that great. Will it focus? There are two small dents here. They're not from nub marks. They're from the actual manufacturing of it. So There are two kind of small semicircles, which I'm also going to use liquid putty fill. Hopefully the goal is to fill in as many seams and try to make everything as smooth as we can. So there's a lot that we're hoping, and I really use the word hope a lot on this thing because it's hard with the old paint and all of that and scraping everything. So for now, that's what we're going to do. As soon as I get these little pieces done, I will do another work in progress video just to show what it looks like with the putty applied, how it looks before I sand it, what I can hopefully get done, and yeah, let's see how this turns out. Getting a little excited. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys real soon.